Hello, warriors. Welcome to the U Movement. I am B. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what it actually takes to heal, because it's not necessarily what you think, or maybe it's exactly what you think, but you deny, and you ignore, and you avoid. So first and foremost, consider yourself blessed, because I have made all of the mistakes that you could possibly make. My path towards healing was not easy. I had somebody say to me yesterday, what I've managed to accomplish is quite remarkable and not something that most people can do. And I said, well, if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And then it really got me thinking about what it was that allowed me to do what I did. Now, if you don't know what I did, there's a lot of videos leading up to today's moment. But in recap, I lost over 130 pounds. I cured my diabetes. I cured my fibromyalgia. I cured my sleep apnea. I corrected and cured my peripheral neuralgia. I corrected and cured my brain fog, memory loss after failing an Alzheimer's test. I no longer suffer from migraines. I no longer have sinus issues. I no longer have severe depression, although dark night of the soul certainly felt like that many, many days. I have successfully managed to let go of many addictions over the last 5 years. Smoking, drinking, cannabis, pharmaceuticals, caffeine, and I'm sure there's more that I'm missing there. Sugar, eating behaviors. So I have done a lot. And so I want to talk about first how I got into the state that I was in, what was the precipitating factors to make me alter my thinking and my behavior so that there was actual change, and what it was required to make those changes. So this goes back to kind of a lot of the theory of trauma, as well as the theory of addictions. If you don't know, my background, my education is as an addictions counselor. And I'm going to give you a little history lesson there, because what I learned those 30 odd years ago was the flags of addiction are threefold, and they are you spending money that you shouldn't or don't have on something? Is it causing you financial hardship? And I could look back at all of my addictions and my vices, if you don't like the word addictions, or my coping strategies, and say, sure, I could have definitely utilized that money better, more effectively. However, I was paying all my bills, so I was sliding in under that radar, okay, on that first flag. So are you just sliding in under the radar? Your bills are paid, but really, how much money are you spending on a carton of cigarettes, or your weekly trip to the liquor store, or gambling, or anything else, shopping? Where is your money going? It could be definitely utilized for greater health and wellness. So flag number one, we need to lower the bar. So if the bar started at can you afford it, we need to lower the bar to, is this the most effective and efficient use of your monetary resources? You put it down to there, and then all of a sudden, maybe not so much. So I made the mistake of using that top bar as my guide to say, I'm not addicted to these things. I'm fine because I'm paying my bills and everything's going okay. Yeah, sure, I'm carrying a little bit too much debt. And yeah, sure, I could definitely put the money into fixing this in the house or buying myself some supplements, but pick and choose. So we're lowering that bar on the first criteria that says, are you spending money you don't have, to lower it to, are we spending money that could be utilized in better and more effective ways? Flag number 2 was, are you being secretive and hiding your whatever it is? So do you have a stash of candy bars hidden in your car somewhere that you munch on when nobody's watching? Do you have a stash of liquor hidden in your laundry room? So when you're down there doing your laundry, are you downplaying and making it seem like other people aren't noticing to the extent of which you're doing things? Okay, so we're going to lower that bar as well and say, because I wasn't hiding anything. I was upfront and honest. This is me as a smoker. This is me having a drink. I wasn't hiding anything. But let's lower that bar and that criteria, because that was a mistake that I made, thinking that I'm fine, when really I should have had lower the bar and say, are you hiding and being deceitful with yourself? Oh, that one's going to sting a little bit more, because when you're being secretive with yourself and you're not being 100% authentic, and yourself is saying to you, I have an issue with this, or I have an issue with that, and you're like, it's not that bad. So let's re-put that bar at a level of your own authenticity, your own integrity, your own honesty, and your own sense of honorability. Are you honoring yourself fully by recognizing or not recognizing the habits that you use to help you cope? And number 3 bar is this causing issues with your relationships? And to be honest with you, I slid by that flag as well, because the majority of my relationships were doing the exact same thing that I was doing. So nobody's going to have a problem with my drinking if everyone else is drinking. Nobody's going to have a problem with my smoking if everybody else is smoking. Side note, funny little tale. I had managed to quit smoking the first time and stayed off cigarettes for 10 years. And in my very abusive, dysfunctional marriage, I restarted smoking again. And it's interesting. This is just a side note, because it's a funny story to me. Is, I have often looked at, we have many parts to our personality. We are not just one being. We have our inner victim, our inner child, and I have an inner rebel. And my inner rebel was not happy in the situation that I was in. And I knew that my ex-husband abhorred smoking. So this ties into, is this causing friction in your relationship? My rebel started smoking again in a very secretive hope that maybe it would be so repulsive to my ex-husband that he would leave, because I was trying to escape from a relationship. So I had used, in a very calculated kind of way, sneaky kind of way, that, well, maybe he's going to get so grossed out by the fact that I smoke that he's going to ask to leave. But narcissists don't. He just used it. So yes, that's when there was conflict in their relationship. Ooh, you smell, I don't want to touch you. And I was like, well, that's good, because no thanks. So served twofold. All of a sudden, smoking was serving me in ways. So we do need to look and be observant of how our vices, our coping mechanisms, our addictions are actually serving us, and what joy, what pleasure are we getting out of them. as well as how are these causing conflict necessarily with other people, you know? So if you're in a state of conflict, that's a flag that you have an issue, you have a problem. And I'm going to add a fourth criteria into this mix of how is it negatively impacting your health? Bing, bing, bing. I think that one's the bonus because let's go on a side over here and say, why do we do these things in the first place? Why do we smoke? Why do we drink? Why do we use cannabis? Why do we microdose? Why do we use porn addiction? Why do we use hookup culture and Tinder and see who we can get the leg over on this weekend? Why do we gamble? Why do we use drugs? Why do we use pharmaceuticals, for that matter? Why do we do these things? So understanding the motivation behind why we do these addictive habits is a necessary part of the coming to a level of awareness, because you need to be aware before you can make change. You can't make change if you're in la la land, in denial and delusion. You can only make change when you're willing to actually look at change. The first thing you need to do is admit you have a problem. You have to admit there's a problem. And many of us don't want to get that first step is getting you halfway there. Okay, halfway there is I admit I have a problem. Once you admit you have a problem, then you can actually do something about it. But before that, there's no hope. So admitting, okay, something's not working well for my life. Step one. Step two. Well, why is it that I do this? What is it in this activity that is providing me with something? And what is it providing me? And why? Like, what is the root cause of this? So I did a video a while back, and I might redo it a little bit different in regards to the chakra system and how each chakra, and this would be in the chakra playlist, the fears and addictions of each chakra. Each chakra is associated with different addictions, and understanding why we have those addictions or those coping mechanisms is a fundamental step in helping us heal. So when we go through life, we have trauma. Everyone has trauma. There is no human on this planet that has managed to get through life unscathed. Sure, some people have big, huge traumas, and what Gabor Mate calls big T traumas, and some people have little t traumas. Abuse, mental, emotional, physical, sexual, war, poverty, all of these big T traumas, little t traumas, gotten in a car accident, bit by a snake, failing a math test, being berated at school, being bullied. Although bully could be a big T trauma if you're being bullied by one of your primary caregivers. So the traumas go on and on and on. I've done a million videos on traumas. I have a trauma playlist. Please check that out. Traumas, what happens when we have a trauma is our inner self, our inner child, can't deal with that trauma. Okay, they're not emotionally or mature enough to be able to deal with that trauma. So what happens is, here we are whole. We come out whole and we have a trauma, and a piece of us breaks off. Okay, a piece of us breaks off. This is the theory, shamanistic theory of soul retrieval, and understanding that there's a fracturing that happens of our soul. So our soul goes, oh my God, got to protect this aspect, this little inner child, got to protect this. So we're going to put it over here into the void. And then ego gets activated and says, all right, I'm going to protect that child, because that child needs to be hidden away from your consciousness and from the world, because it's been traumatized. There's a wounded child. So, shoom. And so through life, we get fractures. Picture it like a beautiful crystal ball that drops on the floor, and shards of self get lost and thrown out into the void. And so then what ego does is it patches up all of those missing elements, okay, so that we think we're whole. Ego's like, we're whole. What are you talking about? We're totally whole. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. When everything's not fine. And so ego then has the primary mission of making sure that you go through life thinking everything is fine, keeping all of these wounded children locked away so that you can't get access to them, because it would be too detrimental. It could cause soul murder if you had to deal with that then. So it's the only way. It's a form of disassociation. It's a form of self-protection of all of those aspects. Is like, no, not getting to these. And so all these holes that are left need to be filled with something, because there's something missing. And so those get filled with, smoking, heart chakra wound, mummy wound. This feels soothing to me. This feels relaxing to me. This feels calming to me, because I'm missing those energies, because that aspect of me was broken off when mummy was raging in my face and making me feel this small and terrified and fear and maybe getting punished, physical abuse or isolation or this or that. So, I have no way to soothe myself. And so as a young adult or a teenager or even a child, smoking became, okay, I can calm my nerves when I do that. Or you have a situation, another hole where you're like, feel broken. You don't feel valued. You don't feel a part of the group, a part of the tribe. You've been ridiculed. You've been bullied. You've been hurt. And so I want to hide my shame away. So and my embarrassment and my uncomfortability, I'm going to take this liquid courage. Oh my God. I can go out and be social now. This tequila fills this hole great. And so on and so forth. So every single coping strategy is a means to polyfill those holes with egos thinking up solutions. And so this is why it's a coping strategy. Ego is doing the best it can at trying to protect you, at trying to keep you safe and keep all of those wounded children safe. It's just a little bit like Loki in the Avengers, that its power has run amok. Instead of using its creative problem solving for good, it grasps at anything it can find as quickly as possible to fill those holes to make ourselves feel better. So addictions, coping mechanisms, distractions, which include even gaming and excessive television watching, excessive reading, perhaps, obsessively going down 1,000,001 rabbit holes and doing conspiracy theories, murder mysteries, and all of these ways we distract ourselves are polyfills for our fractured self. And so we go through life and these things work for us. That's why we do them. That's why people are addicted. Addiction is not, regardless, and this is my opinion, but addictions, and that my opinion, let me just state, is based on my education as well as my 30 years of being a very trauma-informed person, because I experienced it. So from experience and education, I have come to the absolute conclusion that despite the other theories of addiction, and there are 12, AA is one theory. Okay, AA says that addiction is a disease. I do not believe that. I do believe that addiction, all addictions, every single addiction, is born of trauma. If there wasn't trauma, there wouldn't be a hole in the psyche, in the consciousness, in ourselves to fill. There wouldn't be a hole. So trauma happens, fracturing of self happens, and so then we go out into society and we're like, I need to find a way to soothe myself, to make myself feel better, to resolve this situation. So I'm going to plaster it up with some polyfill and make a quick fix, paint it over, and everybody's going to think that everything's fine. A disease says that you have a biological need for something. So therefore, this is not a disease. You do not have anywhere in your brain that says, or your body that says, I need this alcohol to survive. No, your conscious, your psyche thinks that, but that's not the same as a disease. It's not a disease of the psyche. It's a disease. A disease exists in the body. There's physical things that you can test. So there is no test that says this is the alcoholic gene, okay? There is no alcoholic gene. There is a predisposition for alcoholism if you come from a generational trauma of alcoholism. So you've passed down a generational trauma, and you can pass down the genetic reaction to alcohol. For example, the Native Americans struggle with alcoholism because they are missing a gene that breaks up alcohol, but it is not a disease. Okay, so I know that's going to maybe go against what a lot of you believe out there, but if you want to know more about some of my theories, please study Gabor Mate, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the leading expert when it comes to trauma theory and addictions. He has done an incredible book called The Realm of Hungry Ghosts. I have also taken his course. He has a course for individuals as well as practitioners in the health and wellness industry for trauma and addictions. Go to his website and you can take that course if you're looking for more information. And a lot of my theories are also based upon the teachings of Carolyn Myss. And Carolyn Myss wrote a book of how people can heal and why they don't. There's another excellent resource for you to check out. And so from my understanding of addictions, I cleared myself of addictions, basically proving that addictions aren't a disease, but they are in fact a response to trauma. So when you begin to heal the trauma and go into all those holes, peel out the polyphila, sit in the wounds, do the trauma work, do the shadow work, do the inner child work, then the need of the addiction, the need of the substance dissipates. You no longer need the polyfill, because you've found that lost aspect of self and you've put yourself back together. So it is retrieving the fractured aspects of self and bringing us back into wholeness. That's all wonderful, but how is it that I was able to go from being addicted and being utilizing these things to not? Okay, because that's a big leap. Okay, great. I have trauma. I understand I have trauma. I can fix this. I can heal this. How is what people want to know. And why am I not being able to change this? First, we need to understand that motivation comes from two different places. There's two different forms of motivation. There's the motivation that is, this is what I want. I want to get over here. I want to be healthy. You can make a vision board and do pictures of people in fancy yogic positions and, I want this, I want that. But the problem with this form of motivation is it's quite arbitrary and it's unknown. The law of attraction talks about, imagine what it would feel like? Well, I don't know what it would feel like to be healthy if I'm not healthy. I don't know what it would feel like to be thin if I'm fat. I don't know what it would feel like to be sober and deal with everything in total sobriety when I have been not in sobriety since I was 14 years of age. And so I started smoking at 14 or 15. I started drinking not there long after, 15 or 16, always just socially, not every day or anything like that. As I said, I was sliding underneath all these flags. And so I had never had in my life any knowledge. Yes, I had, from Monday to Friday, I know what it feels like to be sober. But I don't know what it feels like to be sober when I'm faced with a stressful situation, or I'm dealing with a dark night of the soul, or I'm experiencing, severe triggering and stuff surfacing. I don't know what that feels like. So to have a visualization of something you don't know is very hard to stay motivated. And so a lot of people think, I'm going to just, I want this. And I want to be healthy. I want to be skinny. I want to be, I'm going to have this goal. I'm going to go out and buy myself a little string bikini, and that's going to be my goal. I'm going to hang it up. And then you fail. And then you fall down. And then it's not working, and then you get discouraged, and then you go into a shame cycle, and then the inner critic starts beating you up because you're not getting where you want to get. So what's a better motivator? Of not wanting to be something. Wanting to be something is fantastic. And sure, have that as a motivation. But the biggest and the best and the most powerful motivator is not wanting to be something. Not wanting to be sick, not wanting to have rashes on your body, not wanting to be able to not breathe properly, not wanting to be abused anymore, not wanting. So what is it that you not want? Because that is your stronger motivator, and it's a stronger motivator only when you hit your rock bottom. Because the ego has, over all of these years of coping and doing a wonderful job at protecting you and filling up all those holes with this, that, and the other, it's going to keep telling you that it's not so bad. So the only way to beat out the ego is to accept that it is so bad. Okay? Because ego is going to lie to you and tell you that it's not so bad. So in every addiction, it doesn't matter what kind of addiction, it's only when it gets that bad, when you hit your rock bottom, will you be motivated enough to make the changes necessary. What does not bad enough look like? Okay? Or what does bad enough look like? Bad enough for me with diabetes was not the threat of what might happen. You need to eat differently because you've got diabetes now and you could lose a foot. Yeah, so I could. I also might not. What it was bad enough was incontinence. So incontinence is a symptom of an imbalanced system. And when I got diagnosed with diabetes in 2019 and became incontinent and, would be rushing to the bathroom and not making it and wetting myself, that was bad enough. That was bad enough. That was a motivator. That was a very soggy, wet, uncomfortable, smelly motivator. That was my rock bottom for diabetes. So everything is going to have its own rock bottom. And what most rock bottoms are is going to be your health. When your health declines that bad is when you will make the choices to change. So what is that bad enough for you? that bad for smoking for me was severe sinus problems that prevented me from breathing effectively and contributing to sleep apnea and having to wear that stupid mask that made me feel like I was drowning on oxygen. That was my bad enough. What is your bad enough when it comes to smoking? Is it coughing up a lung? Is it pneumonia? Is it bronchitis? What is it that's going to be bad enough before you make that change? What about sugar? What is sugar going to be bad enough? Is it going to be the acne that you're breaking out on? Is it going to be the weight that you maybe are disassociated from and not even looking in the mirror and seeing yourself for what you truly are? Is it going to be the rashes, the inflammation, the pain? So fibromyalgia, I had pain all over my body. You could touch me just almost anywhere and I'd be like, ow. I used to joke that I was a peach because you could touch me and I would get a bruise and I would be uncomfortable. And so I'm like, this has to change. So between the incontinence, which was uncomfortable enough and motivating me to fix the diabetes, what came along with that is healing the inflammation. So only when something gets bad enough is when you're going to make the change. And I mean, I had one symptom after another symptom after another symptom. So you need to understand that when I made massive healing choices, it wasn't because I was like, la, 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 this is fun. I can heal this. I can heal that. No, it was because, ow, now I have a headache. Ow, now I have bowel issues and I'm constipated. Ow, now I have like heart palpitations. Ow, now I have a sore shoulder. Ow, now, see what I'm saying? It was one ow after another ow. So getting the motivation to get out of the ows was my biggest motivating factor. And sometimes you need to use both motivating factors to get yourself gone. So I have described in many of my videos, and please check out the Trauma Bonds playlist because no other addiction or coping strategy was harder for me. Now, it may not be the same for you, but was harder for me to escape from a narcissistic marriage. Nothing was harder for me than breaking trauma bonds. Absolutely nothing. And to escape from that, to change that, needed not only the motivation of, I don't want this. And listen, that I'd been trying for 10 years. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. This is stressful. This is giving me PTSD. This is giving me burnout. This is giving me anxiety. This is giving me shutdown. Like it was bad, but it wasn't enough to be bad. I needed, and thank God for this twin flame journey in some regards, because I have said this countless times, I needed somebody to come in and show me that arbitrary of this is what it could look like. This is what love should feel like. Now, between the both, it was like, I don't want this. I do want that. Help, get me out of here. And that took a really long time. And because of how hard it was, listen, quitting absolutely everything I quit was hard. There was no easy in any of it. Some things were easier than others, but even caffeine addiction came at a totally shifting of my way of behavior. But nothing, as I said, was harder than escaping from an abusive relationship. And I know a lot of people right now who are stuck in not so great relationships, and they know they're not really good relationships, and they want to leave, and they don't know how to escape because it just seems like, oh, well, it's not so bad, and they can provide me with financial support, and It's, I've got nowhere else to go right now, and I don't, and so they keep putting up and tolerating because it's not bad enough. So when is it going to get bad enough? That's each individual's rock bottom is unique unto them. And so that's why I understand. I understand more than anyone on this entire planet. Do I understand how hard it is to escape from abusive situations? It takes a type of commitment and motivation. And so in my life, it was all a giant clusterfuck. And pulling away one addiction meant it affected everything else. As I said, the smoking was working for me until it wasn't working for me. And then I replaced that with cannabis for a while. When I quit smoking and drinking, I replaced that with cannabis for a period of time. But even cannabis came to its point where I'm like, nope, this has got to go. And when I was in dark night of the soul and I had been truth bombed and had a nervous breakdown and was experiencing terrifying things, I let that go faster than you can say boo. That was cold turkey, boom. That one was gone. And oftentimes the best thing that you can do is go cold turkey. Cold turkey is, although there are some that I'm going to say do not go cold turkey. Do not. You will do yourself a world of hurt if you try to go cold turkey with pharmaceuticals, especially for any SSRIs or anything like that. If you are contemplating, and I am not a medical doctor, but I am somebody who has gone through both cold turkey withdrawal in the past of going off of SSRIs, as well as somebody who is titrated exceptionally slowly. My recommendation, if you are on any type of SSRIs, is to go slower than slow. If they say take 12 weeks, take 12 months. That's how slow. I was taking it like 5 capsules with like little mini capsules within the pill, 5, and I would stay at that for about a week. And then the next week I would take 10. And then I would stay at that for about a week. And so I went slowly down. There were originally 90 of those little capsules in there. So I went in increments of 5, and that's how long it took me. And there was some stages where I'm just going to hold out here and plateau for a little bit on this one, because it takes time, because this is affecting your brain chemistry. So cold turkey. Go cold turkey on marijuana, unless you can wean yourself off slowly. But if you're having panic attacks and you're starting to experience psychosis, cold turkey with alcohol, cold turkey with cigarettes, cold turkey, you might wean yourself off caffeine. Caffeine withdrawal can feel very, so let's talk a little bit about withdrawal. You can go through withdrawal with absolutely everything that you go off. And that's why I say go slower than slow when it comes, because the withdrawal symptoms that you will experience when going off of an antidepressant are extreme. But some things you're going to have to help yourself along, and it's not going to, like, if you go cold turkey on sugar and go on an anti-candida diet, you will have withdrawal. And you will go through die-off, and there is a food and sugar playlist if one of the things that you're struggling with is comfort eating and sugar and carbohydrates. All of those are feeding the candida. And if you are overweight and you have inflammation in your body, I can guarantee to you that you have candida. If you do not believe me and you want scientific testing, you go to a naturopath and you ask the naturopath for live blood cell testing. And so that is what will give you the information that you need to help assist you in understanding what is going on with your body and what areas you might need to detox. Perhaps you need to do a heavy metal detox. Perhaps you need to do a kidney flush. Perhaps you need to do a liver flush. all the way along my healing, I have been taking very, very good care of my inner self, because I understand as I'm withdrawing off of these things, I need to support my liver as much as humanly possible. So some liver support you can utilize are lemons. In your water, drink as much lemon water as you possibly can. Milk thistle is an excellent herb to help facilitate the detoxification of any of the things that you're going through to minimize your withdrawal symptoms. Flush the kidneys with cranberry juice, whole, not the sugary shit. Whole cranberry juice, that bitter stuff. That's very good for, so flush the system as much as you possibly can. And if you're trying to do the candida, clearing the candida, you want to be having bone broth every single day and my smoothie. Check out my food and playlist. I have a breakfast of warriors or a warrior smoothie, as well as I've talked loads on those videos about bone broth to help heal your gut, so that you are eliminating through the gut instead of out of the gut, perforated, leaky gut into the body, which is causing a lot of your inflammation. So your body is sore, your emotions are all over the place, and you need to heal. What is going to be your baseline to say, I'm tired of having this IBS, I'm tired of having this, I'm tired of having that? And that will help motivate you to make the actual changes that you need. Understanding that when you seek support and say, go to a doctor and you say, hey, I'm having this symptom, I'm having that symptom. What are they going to do? They're going to give you pharmaceuticals to mask or numb or repress. They're not giving you anything to heal you. They're not healing the root cause of the problem. So if you have IBS and they're giving you antacids to eat or something like that, that's not curing the root cause of the problem. You have to get to the root cause of the issue. And that's, so we're taking away all of the polyfill solutions and we're getting to the root cause so we can get back into a sense of wholeness. Okay, so trauma came along. Then we went into a state of protection, and I'm going to heal myself and I'm going to cope this way or that way. And what happens is, over time, those coping strategies have long-lasting negative influences on your physical, emotional health. And so to get to the root cause of these physical, emotional health, you need to alter your behaviors of how you treat your physical, emotional self. And each thing, depending on what it is, might have its own altering of behaviors that is required. So food type of things, if you have inflammation in your body and you use food as a comfort strategy or use sugar as an addiction, heart chakra addiction, my life's not sweet, my life is bitter, life is tough, I deserve this chocolate bar. So we get to this spiritual root cause, which says, I don't feel like my life is sweet enough. And then we find ways to make our lives sweeter. And then we also, on the physical, alter how we eat. So we need to tackle this on a multi-realm approach. What can I do differently on the spiritual? What can I do differently on the emotional? What can I do differently on the physical? What can I do differently in my thinking? So we need to change every single one of these, not just one of these. And that's another area in which we fail. We think, oh, if I just alter my physical without altering my emotional, without altering my spiritual, without altering my thinking, we put ourselves into a position of failure. So we need to align all of them: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, all in alignment. And so that's why we do a deep dive into understanding. If you need help figuring out strategy and understanding why it is that you have certain coping mechanisms and what it is attempting to repress, emotional, and what are the consequences, physical, and what is the thinking that we have in regards to this, So if you want help, please feel free to book an appointment with me. We can have a Zoom, an hour-long intuitive chat about what is happening to you. I am a medical intuitive, which means I sense in my own body what is happening in your body, which gives me the insight that I need. And as I said, I have experienced every symptom out there you can name practically now. Because I volunteered to come down to this planet and learn everything the hard way. I never thought, oh, I'm going to become an awakened being and go on a great Kundalini awakening path and find my way the easy way. No, I cut my path through the brush with my spiritual machete in hand, making every mistake you could possibly make and trying every wrong choice and every long cut, which brings me to the point about shortcuts, okay? So a lot of us on this spiritual journey might find that our egoic self likes to do things the shortcut way. And I can guarantee to you, if it's a shortcut, what it actually translates to is a long cut. It will take you much longer. It is not efficient to do a shortcut. And that includes all the spiritual bypassing that you may be tempted to do. I'm putting my hand up for that again because I made that mistake thinking, hey, I can cure my CPTSD symptoms if I just go get Cambo, if I just go try this sacred medicine, and I'm going to just skip over all of the hard work. Nah. Mm-mm. I can guarantee I opened things way too fast, which resulted in like way too much stuff coming online way too quickly. And as a result, it set me way farther back in my CPTSD. And what I had to do was process all the emotions. My background is a lot of trauma. I have had a lot of horrific experiences in my life. Fracture, polyphila. Find the shortcut. I want to get it solved quickly. What I've had to do in the last 3 years has been living hell. It has not been an easy path. Going through dark night of the soul, a shaman's initiation is another name for the type of awakening that I've been through. Maybe you are on a shaman's initiation. It's something you want to look into. If you're interested more in understanding what that is, you need to read the book, The Stormy Search for Self by the Groffs. Because some of us souls that have been put here on this earth to become healers, teachers, guides, light workers, your first mission is heal thyself. You cannot go out into the world and heal others. You cannot educate others until you've healed yourself, because you do not have the awareness of what it is to go through dark night of the soul, go through trauma, go through healing, go through inner child work, go through shadow work. All of those types of things. And I have an inner child work playlist and I have a shadow work playlist, because the last 3 years of my life have been deep diving into all of the holes, every single last fractured aspect of self. And I'm sure maybe there's more in there lingering. And I'm like, you have to feel it to heal it. So physically, you need to heal your body by making radical change. Radical change. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you need to make radical change, motivated by twofold, by getting away from what was and the symptoms and the illness and the disease and the abuse and the dysfunction. And you have to be motivated as well by what it could be like and what I want it to be like and it might be like, and there's possibility and maybe, just maybe. Both forms of motivation is what's going to give you the strength to persevere. Okay, it requires a lot of perseverance every single day, every single day. Every single day you're doing a little bit of work on the emotional realm. Every single day you need to feel whatever comes up as you feel it. And as soon as you start changing the physical, and you start working on doing all of those action steps, what happens is all of your polyphylla leaves the emotions that you haven't experienced exposed. And so now we've just got all these holes. And these holes have inside of them infected wound, and it needs to be expressed. And that gets expressed through tears, through shouting, through feeling, through experiencing, through terror, through fear, through anxiety, through agitation, through irritation, through shame, you need to feel it. And I can tell you that feeling it is going to be probably the worst thing that you could possibly imagine. It's going to be the worst thing that you can imagine because you've spent your entire life not feeling it. You've spent your entire life avoiding feeling it. You've spent your entire life with ego saying, don't feel that. It's too big an emotion for you to handle. But you're not 5 anymore. You're not 10 anymore. You're an adult and you are old enough and mature enough and able to feel it. If it's coming up now, that's because Spirit is saying to you, it's time. It is time. This awakening process is a purification of all of those woundings to be released so the fractured aspects of selves come back into wholeness. When those fractured aspects of selves come into wholeness, we can start to mature. We can start to have real spiritual maturity. Because what we are as a civilization is a bunch of wounded children dressed like adults. We are responding from our inner child wounds. We are not mature people. It's almost like you could visualize, the world leaders as little kids playing army, playing war, making decisions. These are little childhood kid responses, having a temper tantrum. Make my country the best again. That's a temper tantrum. These are children in adult bodies because they haven't gone through a process of spiritual maturation. To have a process of spiritual maturation requires an awakening. And an awakening means coming along and deep cleaning all of those holes, peeling away the polyphylla, spraying out with a deep clean into all the emotions that we haven't experienced and we haven't felt, and purging, and then putting back that inner child through reparenting. And it's okay. This too shall pass. Everything is going to be okay. And all the while, the mind will be going nuts because the ego is losing strength. This is ego death. It is a slow and painful process, especially if you have had a lot of trauma. That ego has gained all kinds of strength to be the guardian of that wholeness, of that broken sense of self. And so the ego, as you say, no, ego, I'm not listening to you anymore. And the ego will try anything and everything to stop you from getting healthy. So the biggest challenger that you have is your mind. Oh, you really should. You're very stressed out. You shouldn't let anyone see you like this. You better have a cigarette right now. You better resort to old coping strategies. You better fail. Oh my God, you are failing. You are not succeeding. You're not doing well enough. You're a loser. You're a fuck up. You're You have no point to be here. It's better for you to be dead. I think you're dying. Maybe you're dying. Are you dying? What's happening? This is wrong. Everything's going crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Are you crazy? The monkey mind does not like the fact that you have usurped its power and said, no, you don't get to control this anymore. We are letting go of control, and we are letting spirit come in to help us clear out everything that needs to clear out. And that means facing the truth about all of the coping strategies that we use. Every single last one of them. And I recently, yet another mistake made on this journey. I've been in the void. And so I wanted to fill some of my void time up with some distraction. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if I could do something I used to do 20 years ago? Now, when my son was little, 4 or 5, I wanted to be the cool mom. And I had bought him a PS2, and I would stay up late at night playing the video games so that the next day when he had a question like, oh, Mom, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, I'd be like, oh, I can figure that out for you. So it was just a cute little thing I did. I was a single mom, and it filled my evenings to play ahead in his video game. And so I thought, oh, well, I haven't done that for a while. I'm going to see how I get on with that. So for the last few days, I thought it was great fun because you've seen my healing journey. I do nothing but healing. That's what I do. I meditate. I use Ayurvedic therapies. I'm doing yoga. I'm going for walks. I'm eating healthy. I'm like, everything I do, my entire existence has changed. Nothing that I used to be or do is the same as it was. And the reason for that is because we develop hypersensitivities. The more and more we react to those rock bottoms. Okay, so the rock bottom's like, oh, no, I don't want to feel like that again. Oh, no, don't want to feel like that again. So more and more is going to shift and change in your life. And so there is a constant process of letting go and mourning the loss of things that we used to do and the way that we used to be. So back to this story with the video games. I've been playing these video games thinking, after 3.5 years of this, I deserve a little bit of a break. I'm in a bit of a void. Not much is happening. I'm going to play these video games. Yes, my nervous system has been because it pumps your cortisol levels. And so I found myself last night having a total meltdown because I had completely and utterly all of the hard work that I had done in the last year on trying to regulate my nervous system, which is now so hypersensitive. So be forewarned that when the coping mechanisms go away, they also reveal hypersensitivities to things. So my nervous system is now such a hair trigger that playing a video game and falling off a cliff or not accomplishing the goal or fighting or doing and these are just kid games. I wasn't playing adult games. I was playing kid games. But it was still enough. I was playing Ratchet & Clank. Don't know if you've ever played the game. But it used to be great fun for me 20 years ago. And now I can't. So I had to spend most of the night doing meditation and breathing and all of the tools and techniques that I use to calm my nervous system, which still feels really, really jumpy and is probably going to take me a couple of weeks to get myself back to where I was last week, which was a much calmer state of being. So I've removed the television again out of my room. It serves no function because there again is hypersensitivities. My relaxation 10-15 years ago, while in the midst of my absolute worst health and from developing after years of being in an abusive marriage, my relaxation time used to be watching murder mysteries. I loved Luther. I love British, murder shows. And, the very fact that my body thought murder was relaxing, crime shows, mystery, all of those, this music, do, 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 that used to be what my nervous system saw as relaxating, because it was so high stressed all the time, in the chaos and in the confusion and in the stress, that was relaxing. But when you start to heal and you bring yourself back down to where you should have been, all of a sudden you can't watch those shows. I can't watch anything with violence. I can't watch anything with like suspenseful music that gets me agitated. I can't obviously watch or play Ratchet and Clank and PS2 games anymore. I can't do a lot of the things, even music. And I mentioned this the other day, that I used to listen to things like Rage Against the Machine, like Jane's Addiction, my favorite band of all time. AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, heavy music. Now I'm listening to like spiritual, choral, acoustic, sacred sounds, solfeggio frequencies, all in attempt to help regulate my nervous system and bring my nervous system back to calm. So be aware that when you change one element of this, it interacts and affects all others. And then one by one, it's not like you really have a choice, because you'll hop from one rock bottom of one health crisis into the next health crisis, into the next emotional crisis, into the next health crisis, into the next symptom, into the next triggered interaction with people, into the next, and it's a constant process of unfuckening, which is where I started my YouTube. This is the Unfuckening Movement, because it was just, and I still have a ways to go. In as much as I have managed to heal, in as much as I have managed to do, there is still so much that I see in front of me of having to do, not only in my physical body, and starting again with regulating my nervous system, getting that back on track, still have to figure out this whole situation up here. Other than that, I got a lot of pain in my low back and thighs that I'm working through with trigger point release. The IT bands are tight, so yoga and things like that, because it's all still stored in my body. And I've been at this for 5 years. 5 years. So don't get discouraged if it's been 3 months and you're not seeing the results that you want. You're not going to see results in 3 months. You're not. You might start seeing results in 6 months. You might start seeing results in a year. You might start seeing results in 5 years, and you might forget the results that you've had along the way, which is why it's really useful to take a before picture. I wish I had taken measurements. I never did that. So if your goal is weight loss, set a precedent of, this is where I started from. Set an idea, get your measurements, your arms, your chest, your thighs, your waist, even your head. I lost fat in my head. I would love to know what my hat size used to be in comparison to now. Your neck, the size of your neck, that's a big factor in sleep apnea, by the way. You may not see quick results. So give yourself a starting point and make reference of the things that you have accomplished, because the journey is long. The journey is slow. The journey is arduous. The journey is challenging. The journey is emotional. The journey is overwhelming. The journey takes discipline. The journey takes passion. The journey takes perseverance. The journey takes, did I say discipline? I'm going to say that one again in case I didn't. The journey takes warrior spirit. You need to visualize yourself as the warrior that you are, and say in those moments where you feel like giving up and you feel like you're failing and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, because you will feel all of those feels. The amount of times that I felt like I'm failing, I'm not getting anywhere, I still have this, and this. I still have to get myself out of debt. I still have to build my business. I still have to like get my legal situation sorted. I still have to see, there's always going to be mountains to climb. This healing journey is climbing a mountain range. It's a range. It's not climbing a single solitary mountain. It's climbing a mountain range. In society, we have lived in a dysfunctional, unhealthy, irrational society for generations, thousands of generations, thousands of years. There's a gentleman recently that has just put out a study saying that basically the issue with humanity is that we are living in a sense of psychosis. Humanity is in a state of psychosis, and the awakening is bringing us out of state of psychosis, because this state of psychosis is a complete detachment from our instinctual ways of being. We were not made as creatures to be in conflict, to be brutish, to be egoic. But what we have been doing for thousands of years is this trauma model of having trauma, fractured perspective self, being locked in child mind and controlled by childhood impulses, with an egoic structure, holding everything in and filling everything up with polyfill, and going around going, everything's fine. And so then society says to everyone else, everything's fine. Shh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing problem. No, everything's fine. That's psychosis. To be in complete denial. That's like a cultural gaslighting en masse, where we're pretending that everything is fine and everyone is fine and happy vibes only and positive. That's malarkey. That's nonsense. That's psychosis. To be authentic means to feel all of the feelings on the human spectrum. That we are no longer cutting ourselves off from feeling all of our instinctual responses. It's like, and I've said this in videos before, cutting yourself off from all the less than desirable emotions is like telling yourself you're only allowed to pee once a day. You develop cystitis and a whole bunch of health issues. And isn't that what's happened? We've cut ourselves off from all of these emotions that we don't want to feel because they're too big a feeling to feel. They were too big when you were 4. They were too big when you were 12. They're not too big now. You can handle it. You can feel it. When you feel it, you will heal it. When you heal it, you will come back into wholeness. When you come back into wholeness, you will reach spiritual maturation. When you come back into spiritual maturation, you will be an adult in an adult body. When you come back into being an adult in your body, you can continue the work on the ascension, and everything that you are bringing out into the world around you is going to be of different vibration, which is going to be the highest vibration, which is the vibration of the throat chakra, which is consciousness in itself. We are rising our consciousness out of the root, which is a tribal mindset, out into the sacral, which is all about, interpersonal relationships and community and balancing boundaries and interacting. And then we get into this ego mindset here, which is where consciousness as a society has been stuck for thousands of years in the solar plexus of narcissistic and empath paradigm of duality and this, that, and the other. We are moving our consciousness up, and we are opening ourselves in our heart chakra to be more heart-centric, more compassionate, more loving to ourselves first, because you have to learn to love the fuck out of ourselves, moving our way into throat chakra consciousness, this higher vibrational frequency of authenticity, truth, integrity, Wouldn't society be amazing if everybody showed up authentically real after allowing them to be in touch and reconnected to their instinctual feeling center and to be allowed to fully express their truth and who they are? My God, that sounds like the age of Aquarius. Oh wait, but boom, we've just entered the age of Aquarius. But for us to raise our vibration, for us to heal through all of those vibrations, it means feeling them. It means being in them. It means sitting in them, lying in them, crying in them, shaking in them, doing all of the work. And I have a whole bunch of playlists in regards to the emotions to help you process inner child and shadow work. Check out those playlists as well. The more we clear out and we heal, the better it is for everybody as a whole. The society as a whole, it's going to be unbelievable. But to do this work, it's hard. I don't want to give anybody any false notions that there's a fast, easy, quick fix to anything. But it is possible. I am living proof that it is possible. It is possible to lose weight. It is possible to heal your diabetes. It is possible to cure your body of inflammation. It is possible to regulate your emotions, and it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Your emotions are going to go through like this. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I think I'm bipolar. No, you're not. You're getting yourself back into a place. It takes time. It's like a pendulum. Anything in duality, anything that's out of balance is going to take time. So maybe you're not a speaker and you need to learn how to speak. Going to take time. So first couple times you start learning to speak, it's going to be like come out wrong, or you're going to say things too abruptly or too loudly. And oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we learn. It's okay for each of these to come back into balance slowly. Oh, look, I made a mistake. I played video games and dysregulated my nervous system, and now I got to bring it back into balance again. Okay? So we're going to be gentle on ourselves. We're going to be loving to ourselves. We're going to be kind to ourselves through this process of reparenting, reprogramming, feeling, healing, and all of this work. It is possible to escape from abusive situations. It is possible. It is possible to do and become a different person and utilize your time differently. It's possible to stop the porn addictions. It's possible to stop the using people and egoic behaviors like micromanagement, people pleasing, controlling, all of those types of addictions as well, because an addiction doesn't necessarily mean a substance. The work addiction, the religious addiction, this, all of these where we have very staunch beliefs about something can be addictive in quality. I'm always right. I know everything. Bring yourself, you know what's going to happen is Spirit's going to teach you humility and bring you back into balance. And it's going to come back here and it's going to hurt. And it's going to swing and it's going to swing and it's going to swing and swing. And then you're like, oh, geez, now I'm somewhere in between humble and knowing some stuff. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. There is no race. Just as long it is possible. I need you to know it's possible. It is possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on every single layer of our beingness as we bring ourselves back into wholeness. That means healing the physical and doing stuff on the physical to work on the physical. Healing the emotional, which means feeling the emotions and allowing ourselves and reparenting ourselves. And I have reparenting meditations to help you with that if you need some assistance. That should be in the emotions playlist or practices with B. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try to make a link to that at the end of this. And we're going to understand the spiritual lessons associated with whatever it is that we've done and why we've done it, and inner child wounds and shadow work, and go deep dive into the muck to unfuck. And the mental scape is a challenging one because we're going to learn to take away its power. We're going to learn to settle it down, because this addiction, the addiction to the mind and to the thinking and the I know and I need to plan and I need to catastrophize and I need to understand everything and the unknown is scary and I need to think about like last year and need to think about all this stuff, this mental chatter is we need to learn to calm it and reprogram it, especially if it's telling us nasty things. You can't do it. You're failing. You're going to mess this up. You never do anything right. You're no good. You're worthless. You've got no values. All of those are lies. It's a liar. Liar. If you're hearing stuff like that, it's a liar. So we need to learn to reprogram it. Affirmations, mantra. I am here, safe now. Everything is okay. I'm doing okay. You're doing a good job. This too will pass. I am proud of you. You've got this. We go. Whatever it is, write it on your hand, write it on a piece of paper, put it on your wall beside your mirror, listen to affirmations every single day. Self-loathing and the self-critic, we're taking their power away, okay? And we're giving it back to our highest self. Well, today's video ended up being a lot longer than I intended it to, but I had a lot to say on this subject because a lot of people have reached out to me lately talking to me about I'm stuck in this relationship, I'm stuck doing this habit, I'm stuck with whatever. If you're stuck, sit down, be stuck for a minute, and take a little long, hard audit and look at what it is that you're stuck in and why you're stuck in it. And is this today going to be your rock bottom? If you need help, as I've said, feel free to reach out and book a one-on-one Zoom with me, or I can do video messenger on Facebook there. All of my services are based by donation. I have 3 price points, so don't let money be a factor for you to not reach out and get the help that you required. Obviously, you know, within reason of your if you can afford it, please give me what I'm worth. I've been at this a long time, 30 years, accumulating the information and the experience and the know-how to help create active strategies, personalized strategies for you to also do miraculous things and heal your life. If you would like to join the Spiritual Warriors support group, the link to that is in all the description of my videos over there on Facebook. You can post a question and talk to other spiritual warriors in the group and see what they're facing and what they're going through. And you can maybe find yourself some accountability buddies. Hey, you're quitting sugar? Me too. Let's try to work on this one together. Hey, you're quitting vaping? Me too. Let's work on that one together. So yes, reach out in the Spiritual Warriors support group. We have over 400 in there now, but it's growing all the time. Or post a comment here on YouTube, and maybe other people can resonate with your own personal experience. I value so incredibly greatly all of the comments that I receive on my channel. I also really appreciate the donations. Going through an awakening journey is not great on your pocketbook. So if those of you are out there are struggling, and that's why I do my program by all my services by donation, because it is very common for financial stability to fly out the window when you're going through an intensive Kundalini awakening. And that is there to trigger and test you as well, because you are not your money and you are not defined by your money and you are not value because you have money. You have value because you exist. So I'm just tacking that on because I think there's a lot of people out there that feel like if I don't have XYZ in my bank account and certain bonds and stocks and then I'm carrying a certain amount of debt, then I'm failing. Yep, I know that one too. That is another mountain for me to climb on my mountain range. One mountain at a time, one step at a time. That's all anyone can do. That's all anyone can do until there are no shortcuts. You need to take it one step at a time. There's no hand gliders. That's what spiritual bypassing would be. It'd be skipping out all over the very important messages that you need that are located in the valleys. So there are no hand gliders. I do not recommend sacred medicines as a means to hijack, to spiritually bypass the valleys. You need to go up the mountains, which is an arduous climb. You need to face the challengers, which is you and everyone else around you. You need to go into the valleys, into the muck to unfuck. You need to climb another mountain range, and it's going to be one after another after another. We're climbing these ranges together, people. Sending you all my absolute love for all of the warriors out there climbing and being the hero in their own stories. It's challenging. You guys are amazing. Transformation. I joke that, like, compared to who I used to be 5 years ago, is like going into that little contraption in the movie The Fly and coming up out as a morphed, completely and utterly different person. Because as you go through these mountain ranges on this hero's journey, you will not be the same person who entered the mountain range. Each mountain, you're going to be a lot more experienced, a lot more authentic, and a lot more you. And that's who the world needs. The world needs you. Peace out.